Hello friends, welcome back to another Microsoft Flight Simulator video. Today is the first episode of the Ground School series I started to do with CJ4, and we are now looking into the Airbus A320. This will be probably 3 or 4 episodes based on how long each episode will take, but I am trying to make them 30 minutes each, so we'll see how that goes. We are currently parked at Liverpool John Lennon Airport. After the UK update, I thought we might as well take a look at the new airports. This is one of the airports added with the World Update. I believe it is 3, which brought UK and Ireland. We are in EasyJet colors today, as you see behind, or on the screen, not behind. And we will be looking into the cold and dark start and programming the MCDU for our flight. I think this will be the first episode like we did in the CJ4 series. Without further ado, let's jump into the cockpit and start looking into powering this aircraft. Alright, we are in the cockpit now. Cold and dark, nothing is running. Sorry about my voice, I catched some cold and I am just getting back to normal. And that's why my voice is a little bit different. But I think it's not too bad. But I apologize if it's bad for you. So to do this, I wanted to use a checklist like we did with the CJ4, which has a built-in checklist. This aircraft will have some in the future when the Flybywire team adds the checklist to the EFB. EFB is partly functional right now. We will discuss about that when we go through the flows. Let me put a checklist on the screen. This is something I downloaded from explain.org. This is actually for Flight Factory A320, but I think this will work for our purpose as well. If you are interested, I will put the link to the checklist to the description field of the video. Yeah, you can download it from there. I wish I can upload this to my Google Drive and let you download it from there, but this is not my creation, so I don't like the idea to distribute that. So you can go down to explain.org and download this if you like. So let's start with the flows, cockpit preparation flows. That's gonna be from left to right, top to bottom. You can adjust this brightness later on after applying power to the aircraft, and that's what I will do. We will just go to the overhead panel right away, and then we will check the battery 1-2 voltage. We have 28 volts. I believe the least amount is 22 that we need. So that is safe. We can turn on the batteries 1 and 2 to on. And then we'll turn the external power. And immediately we will switch the ADIRS system to nav to start aligning the GPS. As you see, the air condition is kicking in. We can turn it to low. And let's go down the checklist. Electric hydraulic pumps, they are on by default. They are here. Electric hydraulic pumps 1, 2. Fuel pumps, we'll turn the fuel pumps to on. I'm not expecting to have any fuel in the center tanks, so I'll leave them off. Engine generators are on and at fault because the engines are not running. They are these two. Packs 1, 2, they are on right here, pack 1 and pack 2. We can turn them off until we actually we are on external power, so we can leave them on. We start the APU, and the lead air will also supply air to the air conditioning system. Hot air, that's on. That's right here. Engine anti-ice and probe switches, they are off right here, these 4. Emergency lights, they are here, we armed them, they are now armed. Cabin signs, I'm not planning to turn them on because the aircraft is not ready to board the passengers. But for the sake of the argument, we can turn them on per the checklist. Navigation and logo lights, we turn the nav and logo lights to on. This is done because the co-pilot is now doing an external check or exterior check, and he needs to verify the nav lights are working, so that's why we are turning them on. EFC 1 and 2, they are over here, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, they are on by default. Ground position warning system, GPWS, that's this guy over here, it's on. And we'll go to the pedestal panel from here, but I'll also add that we need to turn the crew oxygen supply on. Let's go to the pedestal. Alright, parking brake is set and verified. Flaps are verified that they are at 0. Speed brakes are retracted and disarmed. Engine master 1 and 2, they are off, these 2 guys. Engine mode selector is at norm, it's this guy over here. If I go a little bit to this right, you'll see it's at norm. I touched something accidentally, I guess. Thrust levers are idle. Transponder is at standby right there. Radio control panel is on both sides. Frequencies are set. We are not dealing with ATC. At this point we would have set the ground frequency of this airport, but I'm not worried about that. And we'll just check the ECAM, and let's just adjust the brightnesses now. So PFD brightness, ND brightness, MCP integrated lighting, MCP screen brightness, overhead panel integrated lighting, co-pilot brightnesses for the screens. There we go. ECAM brightness, we can crank it up to have better visibility, and then we can also apply some integrated lighting to the pedestal, and we can turn on the floodlights. So now it says ECAM recall button, that's this guy. Let's hit that. No error messages or nothing. Landing gear, verified that landing gear is down. MCDU doors page, verify doors are not open at the moment. We need to connect the jetway, or in this case, because we are going to use a ramp, we need to connect that, but we can, I believe, at least open the door. So the cabin door is open, although if I go outside, because I don't want to deal with the radios, we need to call this guy over, and I don't have an option in my pushback helper program to call that guy, so we are going to leave it like this. Alright, so that's verified. Anti-skid nose wheel steering, that is this guy, anti-skid nose wheel steering, that's on. And flight director, so that's on the MCP. We'll go there and we'll turn on the flight director. At this point I like to also turn on the constraints to be able to see the altitude and speed constraints on the ND. So that's what I do when I'm going through my regular flow. Alright, so that is the cockpit preparation pretty much complete, except we have an EFB here. Let's turn on the fly pad and let's get a closer view. And over here, this part is working. It can take your flight plan from SimBrief. All you need to do is go to the company page and add your username, SimBrief username. And if I go and hit from SimBrief, it will load the flight destination and departure It will also give me the weather information for both, and I find this quite handy. We can also print the METAR information from the MCDU, but this is a little bit quicker to do it this way. Alright, so now we'll go to the MCDU, and let me remove the checklist because we'll just do the FMGS setup after this. Let's get rid of the checklist for now. Let's go to the MCDU and increase the brightness of this guy as well. Alright, at this point we are ready to do the init, and we have two ways of doing it. We can request it from SimBrief, which is integrated with Flybywire mod, or we can do it manually. To do it manual, we have to plug in our departure Echo Golf Golf Papa, and our arrival is going to be London Gatwick, so Echo Golf Kilo Kilo, and I can plug this here and then fill out these boxes: company route if I want to save this, flight number, cost index, cruise, flight level, all of that. But I find it easier to do this through SimBrief, so I'm gonna show that part only. To do that, first we need to go to the MCDU menu and then the options, and under options, AOC SimBrief, that's your user ID. You can also use the username. I like to use it as the user ID, which is your pilot ID, to integrate SimBrief with the Flybywire A320. And while we are here, we can go back to the AOC menu. There are some more settings here, like the realism. You can change the other system align time to fast or instant if that's something you want. I keep it at real, or real. CIDS, this is the passenger signs. It's now set to no smoking, and I'm not sure what this does. I have to go and do some investigation. FMGC, default barometric setting is auto, weight units are kilograms, and this is the thrust reduction height, which I'm not touching at all. So let's go to the ATSU AOC menu and let's just request weather and send the request. You can also request the init from here. That will also plug the SimBrief details to this page. We'll come back to this page later on. So we'll do the init from SimBrief, which will load the flight plan from SimBrief into the MCDU with the click of a button. Because I think the other part goes same way like we did in the CJ4. You plug in the airways to the left, plug in the waypoints to the right. You select your departure and arrival from the flight plan page, which we will also do because they are not carried over from SimBrief. I see the GPS primary message here. That means the other system is now aligned. Let's plug in our flight plan from SimBrief. Press that. It will now take everything from SimBrief: cost index, flight level, flight number, EasyJet 3550, and second page of the init requires some work before we can do this, and that is going to be the payload and the takeoff weight. If I can put maybe SimToolkit Pro to share the load sheet with you guys, that might make more sense. I am trying to get it there. Oh, it's locked. Okay, that's why. Alright, so this looks better. Let me put it there. Now there you have the load sheet, or in other words, the weights of the aircraft, as well as the fuel. Fuel comes automatically, but we have to do some work for the weights. So I'm seeing a takeoff weight of 62.9 tons, and I'm using metric units, so that's kilograms. To make that here, we'll open the fuel menu. I can move it to the side so that you can see it, despite the fact that you also have the Sim Toolkit Pro window, so it's a little bit clogged. But what I'm gonna do is I'm going to increase the payload until I get 62.3 down below at here, takeoff weight. So that is too much, that is still too much, maybe 49. We are half full in this flight. 62.47, 63.41. I think I'm gonna take it. That is the closest I can get, and we are done with this window. I'll share with you why. So we go back to the MCDU menu, to ATSU, AOC, and there's a performance weight and balance here. This menu loads the required fuel, and that is directly from SimBrief. If I scroll up, you'll see the fuel. That is 3,932 kilograms of fuel, and that's what I'm seeing here. Right now, if I had to share, we have over 9,000 kilograms of fuel on board. As soon as I press this button, let me see if we can take a look at it together. When I hit load, it will change the fuel to that amount, and it's also updated on this window, 3.932. But same doesn't happen with the payload on the second page. If I didn't change the payload from here, it would do nothing. So, but what it will do in this case is, if I expand this a little bit just to view the center of gravity, it will center this, because I was out of, oh, hold on, payload is gone again. Interesting. Maybe I should have done fuel first. Let's hit load and bring that window back. So it should have now loaded that payload, but it didn't do anything. So what I'm gonna do is I'll go back to 45%, 62.9. Oh, that's because of the fuel. Okay, now that makes sense. The fuel was also added to the weight. So 62.99, that's good enough, but I am getting a CJ out of limit message here. So let me get rid of the Sim Toolkit Pro window so that we can see better, and let me carry this to the side, and let's see what happens when I hit load for the payload. I'm hitting load, and it fixed the center of gravity for us. So that is why you have to do the weight and balances first, and then come here and load the fuel and the payload. Alright, so that part is done. Let's go back to the init page. We got some more work to do. Let me get closer. There we go. Now we are good to add the zero fuel weight and the center of gravity. We'll go to the fuel planning. That will plan the block fuel for us. We'll confirm that, and that is our init page completed. From here, we can go to the flight plan, and we can select our departure. Our departure is going to be from runway 09 via NAND to Victor. Instrument departure. We will enter this. Let's clear these messages. So now our departure is selected, and we will worry about the arrival when we are up in the air. The next thing we need to do is calculate our takeoff performance. And for this, I am using a web page that has an Airbus A320 performance, takeoff performance calculator. It takes some time to get this to working. I don't know if I can share this with you guys. Let me try to do that if I can. If not, I will just paste the link. You can mess with that. And usually entering flaps 1 and the step trim to 0 works. I just like to do this a little bit realistic. Echo Golf Golf Papa, I'm just entering the information required. Let me try to put it on the screen, that will make more sense. Give me a second guys, let me figure this out. Okay, I found it. I think I will be able to put it on the screen here in a second. Let's see here. Alright, now you will be able to see it. All I need to do is to carry this over to the other side and make that move to there. Okay, now we can talk. What I'm doing here is entering our destination, departure, and requesting METAR so that it takes the QNH and all the values for calculating the takeoff performance. Our takeoff weight is 62.9 and our MAC is going to be same. I believe so. That's maximum. Is that the center of gravity? Maybe. Alright, yes, that's the center of gravity. So that was 30.1, if I'm not mistaken, under the init page. If we go there, 30.1, so we plug that in there and then calculate. Oh, we have to select the runway, that's 09, and then now we can calculate 62.9, 30.1. Now we have everything. So that is showing me that the step trim is minus 0.3 down. So let's plug that in there. Flaps 1, and that is down. Delta November 0.3. And we go to the performance page, plug it in here. Flex to temp, we can select something between 44 to 68. That's the max we can select. So we'll select the max. That is our flex temp. And transition altitude for Liverpool is 5000. So now we are ready to calculate our V speeds. V1, we rotate, and V2. There we go. So that is pretty much everything MCDU that we have planned and programmed into the unit, except the radio navigation page, which we will discuss a little bit. Let me clean up the window, get rid of the performance calculator to have a full view. Alright, so we will come back to this page. Next up, we will program our MCP, Mayor Control Panel, and we already turned on the flight director and constraints. Now we will get the weather report, which we have here, right there, 1025, and we also printed that, or we can print that, we haven't printed it yet, from ADSU, AOC, received messages, METAR, and we hit print. That will come out of this printer over here, the thermal printer on board. It didn't print anything though, because we didn't receive anything for METAR. Let's just request the weather again. We'll tear this. I didn't realize there was nothing in there. Weather request, METAR, send, and we are waiting for company message on the ECAM annunciation that tells us that we received the METAR message. That takes a couple seconds usually. There you go, company message, received messages. Hopefully this time we have it. Yes, we do. Now let's print this. I didn't check the screen in the first one. So it's coming out. As you see now, the paper has some text on it. we can also use this to enter the QNH and all that information. So let's take a look at it. That is also 1025. It's giving us the wind information, the temperature as well. So we'll go up, we'll set the barometric pressure to 1025. We'll increase the brightness of the standby altimeter. We'll set that to, let me get closer to give you a better view. We'll set that to 1025 as well. And we have to verify they both have the same altimeter readings, 0.80, 0.80, so that's right. Co-pilot side is synchronized, so we are not worried about that. For the altitude, you either need to receive IFR clearance from ATC and they will give you initial climb altitude. In this case, I'm gonna refer to the departure chart, which I will share with you here in a second. There we go. That is the chart. Let me zoom into the bottom. I hope you guys can read this. Let's get rid of that. So Nanti to Victor, climb straight ahead at distance 1.0 India Lima Victor Romeo. So that is the localizer DME at the airport. So remember I talked about the radio navigation page. So let me go down to the MCDU and let's discuss a couple more things here. And I need to move this window to the I believe to the left for you guys to see, like so. Okay, so how we are going to track that 1 mile distance where we are going to make the turn. It says climb straight ahead 1 miles DME 1.0 ILVR and turn right to VHI. VHI is, I believe, somewhere down below, or I'm looking for the VOR station. It's right there, VHI. That's an NDB station, my bad. So we are going to turn right to an NDB station to intercept that. And cross at about 3,500, max 4,000. So that's my initial climb altitude. And intercept Val, radial 128, or Han, radial 327, inbound to Nanti. So we got some work to do here. First thing as first, we will plug in what was that frequency? 111.75. That will be our DME track, or we will be tracking the distance on VOR2. Second one is going to be our NDB station, VHI 368.5. that is to here. Alright, and then the third one is going to be Han or Val, either one works. We'll just do Han, radial 327. Han is down below, right there. That is this VOR station, 113.65, 113.65, and we will plug that into VOR1. Alright, so, and to make that work, first we are going to track the ADF 368.5, and on second one we will track the ILVR to measure the 1 mile out to make the turn. That is also set up, and when we make that turn we will switch this and you can see that needles here. The white one is the ADF, the blue is the VOR, if I'm not mistaken. And this will help us align with the course as a backup if something goes wrong with the GPS. So that's why I plug them in there. As soon as you turn the autopilot, if there is nothing wrong, it should follow the flight plan without any problems. So that is that. Let's set the altitude to 4000. That was the max. We have a restriction, and I believe we can see that if we increase the range. I'm not quite seeing that, but we will see about that when we depart, because it says max 4000. Let me get rid of the chart to open the view. And that is pretty much the MCDU and the cockpit preparations setup. From this point, it is to turn on the APU, fire it up, and get her taxi ready. But we will look into that in the next episode and maybe taxi to the runway and cut it there for the third episode. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is initially the same setup that we did with the CJ4. We will be continuing with the flows, starting the APU and, you know, boarding the passengers and so on and so forth in the next episode. Thanks for being with me today. Thanks for watching the video. If you have any questions or comments, please drop a comment down below. I love to read your comments. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing and turning on the notifications to get notified for the future episode. Again, guys, thanks for being here. Sorry about my voice, and I will see you in the next episode.